What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you our most recent Locals Finals, and it will be in the EX3 format, and this may be our last or one of our last EX3 format videos before we start diving fully on into BT11, but since it was the local finals, I wanted to bring it to you all here. So going to be having GrandisKuwagamon on the right, and then on the left we are going to be having Crossheart, which is a deck that definitely gets a buff going into BT11, but one that is still relatively hindered in the EX3 because of that cross 4 hit and things like the Sunrise Buster getting hit. But starting off, we have the Akari coming out, which is going to be able to play out that Digimon swinging in, and we just see Grandis getting that cycle going. That is going to be relatively important to get out that green memory boost, so that way you can try and find your ultimates, build up into your megas, and swing in. I don't think Crossheart is going to have too good of a matchup here. I think there's a lot of times where they just get blown out in security, but there is also the chance that Crossheart is able to just pop off and be able to get a ton of aggression going. With that tie now out on the board, we're going to be having Cross 4 and Cross 5 dealing an extra checks. You could go for Cross 4, swing 2 checks, Cross 5, swing 3 checks, so it definitely would help a little bit of aggression there. And starting to get out some good tamers, got the Akari and got the Zenjiro out, so going to be able to get some draw and reduce play costs while also being able to have that tie for the memory tamer and that extra aggression. But now it is time to go in. We are going for that Akuamon X antibody, which means we are going into actually the Grandis, so not going to be having the GrandisKuwagamon, so not going to be able to go for the Digiburst, but we do have the X antibody option, which is going to allow you to unsuspend at the end of attack, and then because of the Kukuamon inheritable, we do gain a memory when swinging over that Ballistamon. So although we aren't going for that full OTK potential with the GrandisKuwagamon and the Grandis, still able to clear board, gain a little bit of memory while also being able to just get some chip in. And there is going to be a little bit of editing here because unfortunately in that little section of the green player's board there was a ton of glare. So with this Mimi on the board and the green memory boost coming out of security, there was just so much glare that put a little bit of editing over there so you can just fully know for sure what cards are on the board. But here comes out the King of Shoutmon, going to be able to use that Sparrowmon for the Digicross, and they are going to add that Starmons back into hand, gain the memory off of Zenjiro, and draw a card from the Akari. So not the most impactful turn right now because it doesn't really do anything about this Grandis, which is threatening to swing 2 more checks next turn and potentially go in for piercing checks. But just going to play out the Zenjiro to play out the Ballistamon, which isn't going to help too much at the moment because, again, even if they block, you are going to be having piercing, and at the end of attack you are going to be able to suspend a Digimon. So we are going to swing in, survive the check, end of turn or end of attack. Going to be unsuspending and suspending the King Shoutmon and going to swing over that. I don't think it really matters too much what you swing over here because you are just going to be able to remove board, and just clarifying where the memory gain is going to be coming from. You gain the memory off that rookie, so going to swing another check with piercing, so opponent's down to 1 security, and so could potentially just go in with the Grandis next turn while also still having the Mimi and the green memory boost. So they could also just tap the Mimi right here, and they have the green memory boost to be able to go in, so they are going to tap the Mimi to bring out the Akuamon. The Akuamon X will go in, Digivolve, suspend the Ballistamon, so now you will be able to get through into security for free, even though you would have the piercing anyway. Now if you have a way to be able to go in for a couple checks, be able to unsuspend, you will have it, but doesn't matter. We're going to swing in with the piercing. The Akari is going to come out, give minus 3k with the Darulamon, which is probably not going to matter too much because now with 2 Digimon on the board, it's going to be incredibly hard to get rid of this Akuamon X and the Grandis. So just thinking about what we are going to do here, I don't think it's going to matter too much what you go for. I think if you just play anything to pass turn, it's going to be fine. We're going to have that Akuamon X, which also has a pretty good amount of glare on it, but as we are going to see, the Crossheart player is going to draw, hasn't yet seen a Shoutmon, so not going to be able to have rush or anything, and they are just going to go scoop it up. I didn't really go how I expected it to. I think Grandis, like I said, had the high potential of just being able to blow out security, and we didn't really see that happen. We just saw a couple turns of Grandis swing. We also thought that the Crossheart could pop off, and they really didn't do too much either. So just going to go ahead and go with that Taiki, get the X5 in hand. So now we are going to be setting up to be able to go for something actually later in the game instead of just playing out champions. But Grandis is already building up into that Akuamon in the back, and they have the Metal Kabuterimon in the stack, which allows you for a potential little extra Digiburst if you wanted to go for 4 swings instead of the usual 3. Gonna swing in with that Sparrowmon, will survive in the security, and see what we go for now. The Taiki coming out, so finally finding a Shoutmon and gonna be hitting the cross 4, so could have grabbed another Taiki there or the Akari, but I think having the Shoutmon is super priority, and I think the cross 4 is going to help you out a little bit more than a third Taiki would. I think you're looking a little bit more for Zenjiro than the Akari, just so that way you can have that memory gain and hopefully be able to just keep turn and go for aggression. But now we see coming out with that GrandisKuwagamon just to choke the opponent at 1. You are going to be Digivolving for 2 over the Akuamon X, so just chokes them at 1, but I think you're relatively safe because I don't think there's any way for you to be able to delete this GrandisKuwagamon. Even if you were to have the Sunrise Buster, you'd have to have some crazy spot removal like Gaia Force, but we saw them swing in right there with the Sparrowmon. Gonna lose that 1 memory because of the promo Akuamon. And here comes out another Taiki, so we saw 1 go to the bottom and 3 coming out, and just looking for pieces. We haven't seen Darulamon or Starmons yet, and there is nothing in Raising, so we can assume they don't have these Starmons. So I'm assuming they're just searching for the pieces that they need, but now is not going to be a super great time for that to happen, as we are going to be Digibursting with the GrandisKuwagamon, so now going to be able to swing for 3 checks with that Piercing. And again, unless you are playing some sort of crazy spot removal like Gaia Force or Grandel Soul or something, there's nothing you're really going to be able to do about this Grandis. It's going to be sitting at 18k, so not like Sunrise Buster will be able to help you here, but going to be swinging for the 3 checks with Piercing. They do hit the Zenjiro, which is nice to have the Zenjiro out on the board, but the Ballistamon that comes out is just going to get suspended and then swung through with Piercing to clear out security. And looks like they're thinking about going with the Palmumon, so this is actually nice because now you aren't going to be able to play Digimon by effects. We hit the Zenjiro, but because of that Palmumon, again, that Ballistamon isn't going to be able to come out, so that is nice. Just a little bit of confusion right there, but going for the Weedmon to pass turn at 1, and I don't think there's anything you can do here. You have an incredible amount of Tamers, but unless you are able to go for some big plays to go for the OTK with things like Cross 4 and Cross 5, I don't think there's really too much you got going for you right here. So gonna take a little second to think about what to do here. They do have that Cross 4, so gonna be able to tap a Taiki to be able to put all these sources underneath, and this is nice. You are going to be able to get at least a little bit of draw here. Unfortunately though, it looks like we are still missing that Starmon, so you are going to have to pay the 3, but we do have the 2 Zenjiro, so you can gain the 2 memory to go back. Gonna be swinging for the just 1 check actually, because the tie is not going to be boosting because you need 4 sources, so that's actually very unfortunate missing that Starmons there. We'll have the end of attack to put the cards back under the Taiki, but at this point now we are going to need something crazy, especially if we don't have the Starmons. There's really not much to go for. We are going to be able to go for the Cross 5 here, having, I believe, still just 4 sources unless they were able to draw that Starmons. Looking through the hand, no Starmons, so going to pay for 2. Have that blocker, but it's not going to matter because Grandis will be able to swing with Piercing, and then end of attack will be able to suspend, and the blocker won't even matter. So is going to be able to take it right there. Grandel Soul in the security to top it off. But if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. As I mentioned at the beginning of the match, this will likely be our last EX3 match, or one of our last couple EX3 matches, and then we will be moving on into just BT11, moving into Nationals. But if you are excited for that, be sure to let me know, and I will catch you all next time. Hope you have a fantastic day. Peace out.